Yep.
Yes, I can see the slides.
Cool. So good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Thank you. I was like, oh crap. I have a client before, I have a client after. I was like, thank you so much. You can take her back there.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you? I'm Christy.
Joseph.
Nice to meet you.
What do you do?
I'm a yoga therapist.
Nice. Any time massage?
I don't do any.
You do what?
No, I don't do any time massage, but
Yeah.
I know people in New Jersey. I don't know anyone here. So
You know, they're starting to do more of that.
All right.
What a lovely morning.
Yeah, I haven't been outside yet.
It's going to get up to 83, so I'm letting as much cold air into the house as I can.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah, same.
I don't
know where to look.
You can look over there for everybody online. So I think we're ready to get started. Sorry for all the technical delays. We haven't done this in person forever, so thank you so much for being here.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
Can you speak closer to the computer, any chance?
Sure can.
Okay, thank you.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Cool.
They can't even see us.
They can't even see us.
Okay.
Okay.
This is
so
weird.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for being here for our 1-year anniversary. I've got a bunch of slides, but I think honestly, everybody on the camera and everybody in the room has probably heard this speech before, and maybe not. There's a couple of new people. So we'll go through these slides really, really quickly, and then we'll dive right into it with our speaker for the day here. So let me just go through this. So this is our organizing team.
Raise your hand.
Thank you, everybody, to help us put this all together. And we'll come back to that in 1 second. So obviously the Kaufman Foundation is sort of driving the 1 Million Cups initiative all across the United States. So check out Kaufman Foundation. You can learn more about how they're helping small businesses in the area here and all across the United States to create more entrepreneurship opportunities for people like us. We are trying to lower that access to education, lower the barrier for education, resources, and connection, try and make sure we can bring small businesses together to be successful throughout the United States. So we've got a national and local mission on that front. There is a 1 Million Cups that meets every Wednesday across the entire United States. So when you're traveling someplace, go check out the one in whatever city you're visiting. This is just our Southeast region, so you get an idea of how many there are, and they're usually at 8 or 9 o'clock every single Wednesday. So check those out. We're trying to find people that want to come in and present their business, not a pitch. We're not for investors kind of thing. We're trying to build these authentic connections. And I can honestly say, over the past 12 months, I've gotten to know quite a few of you on a much deeper level. So I really appreciate that opportunity to get more connected with you guys by coming here every Wednesday. So it's by the community. I know Michelle and I are up here a lot, but we don't want to be up here all the time. So please come in here and help us. You guys can do these slides whenever you'd like. The core program is every Wednesday. We're going to do 2 6-minute presentations with 20 minutes of Q&A. They're for businesses that are typically less than 5 years old. We make certain exceptions for rock stars like Brian that we'll talk to here. And we're going to ask Brian at the end of today, what can we do as a community to help you? So it's always free. So please encourage the small businesses that you run into everywhere you go to go to 1millioncups.com and apply to present. And we're the Lake Norman chapter, but we're also in partnership with Charlotte. Thank you, Sam and crew, for joining us and doing this thing virtually while we try and build a bigger community in our growing city here. So check out the social stuff if you guys don't mind. Making sure you post a picture today because it's our anniversary party. That'd be awesome. Try and get some more people to come in and check this out. So With that, we've got Ivory, who hopefully will show up on Zoom here shortly, and we can talk to her. And then we've got Brian here, who was our first speaker way back when. So thank you, Brian, for being here. He's back with some coffee. The company donates the coffee every Wednesday for us here at the hub and stuff. And we're going to get an awesome update from him in 1 second. But I do want to just take one extra minute to say thank you to Michelle for all of the stuff that she does. A little certificate and a peanut butter trophy for Michelle here for the dogs. This is the Engagement Champion Award, because I think Michelle texts every single one of you guys and says, get on the Zoom, why aren't you here? Everything else. So thank you, Michelle, for. And so I know Michelle gets so much pleasure out of this. As our anniversary party's here, I thought we would celebrate properly by making a giant mess and celebrating our 1-year anniversary. So don't point it at me, please, and stand over here so everybody at home can watch.
Wait a minute.
Don't mess it up, Michelle. The pressure's on you. We're going to do it later? Well, this is more fun with the big one. You want to do it now or later?
Just do
It
it.
will.
Just do it.
Just do it, Michelle.
It's easier to get forgiveness.
Do it. Twist. Happy. Definitely going to get in trouble with that one. Thank you, Michelle. Was it worth it?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. So without further ado, we're going to welcome Brian up to the stage. You set the timer, Brian.
Yes.
Great.
It's right here.
And you can look into this camera or that camera.
Do I have a slide clicker or am I on the computer? Or should I just tell you?
Just that arrow button,
Okay.
or I can do it for you,
No, I'll do
whichever's
it.
easier.
Cool. Yeah, don't forget to start. Or should I start it myself? I can
Go.
do that. I'm capable. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me and all of you guys at home. I'm Brian Helfrich. I'm the CEO of Summit Coffee. And as Brian said, I was the introductory speaker to 1 Million Cups Lake Norman exactly a year ago. And I presented with you guys a year ago the idea that Summit Coffee was preparing to have our biggest growth phase in the history of our company. Summit's been around for 22 years. For the first 15 years, we existed only as a single coffee shop in downtown Davidson, North Carolina. I was brought on in 2011 to change that, and I'm going to give you an update of where we are now. So exactly a year ago, we said when everyone zigs, someone needs to zag. So we were looking for new markets, new products, and new opportunities. And that was last October, and soon after that, we introduced several things. The first is we invested in our own team. So we became one of the first coffee companies in Charlotte to provide full benefits to all of our employees, which we felt like before we started any of our growth, we need to have our team stable. The second thing is we decided to pursue new markets. And the outdoor industry is obviously pretty synonymous with our brand, Summit Coffee, and our trademark slogan, which is Find Your Summit. So we became the official Coffee of the Outdoor Retailer Show, which is a biannual 40,000 person conference. And so we went to Colorado and set up a cafe for 4 days and introduced ourselves to the outdoor world and sort of made a big splash. We came back and we were named the best coffee roaster in the South at the Charleston Coffee Cup. We launched our franchising business, which was sort of the biggest initiative we'd taken in 20 years. And then we did our first outside funding ever. So between October and February, we felt like we were riding high. And then, of course, the pandemic happened. And this is not a glorious picture, and those of you at home probably can't see it, but what it is, it's a whiteboard that is the picture taken in my office. It was the Monday, March 16th, the day before Roy Cooper basically shut down North Carolina. We knew it was coming. And I took this photo because it was, how long can we survive? And that's what this whiteboard was. And so I'm doing some quick mental math to say, we don't want to let any of our employees go. That was sort of our first prerogative, was how can we survive and keep our team? And so we did some quick budgeting, and we were like, for 2 weeks, for 4 weeks, for 6 weeks, and we were like, boy, this looks pretty bleak. And we thought at that point we were going to have to shut everything down. And so what we did was identify how much money we were actually still going to have coming in, and then we adjust. So our wholesale business, which is we import and roast and distribute coffee, dropped from 1,600 pounds a week to 500 pounds a week overnight. And that's a result of other coffee shops closing, everything closing. Our Asheville cafe went from about $1,200 a day to about $220 a day. There were days where we'd see about 13 people. And our base camp cafe, which is sort of $1 million cafe, was doing $500 and $600 days. And then we had to close our cafe on the campus of Davidson College. So all of a sudden our revenue just dried up. And so again, going back to a year ago, we said we need to zig when everybody zags. New markets, new opportunities, new products. And so, like I said, we had one focus, which was stay in business and keep our employees employed. So what we did is first we entered new markets. We expanded our grocery accounts. We doubled our amount of Whole Foods we were in and got into the renewed Earth Fare launch. And grocery, as everybody knows, did really well during the pandemic, and so that helped. Second is we pivoted to a really smart e-commerce strategy and grew that 1,800% overnight. And the third is we just doubled down on that and hired a salesperson and a brand rep and said, when everyone else is shutting down, we are going to be more proactive. We're going to try to sell more. Then the idea of new products. I was walking from my house to Summit on Main Street in Davidson one morning, and there's this vacant bank drive-thru that's been vacant for 3 years. And it occurred to me that morning, this was the Tuesday morning, March 17th, I said, it would be amazing if this could be a Summit. I called the town of Davidson. They said, no way, we don't allow drive-thrus. But then I said, if I get the developer to say yes, will you let me? And they said, sure. So I got the developer that said, you can do whatever you want. He didn't even have a key for the space. I went back to the town of Davidson. They said no again. And I asked the third time, and then they said yes. We had to get a locksmith to open the place for us, and we were open 3 days later. This is a picture of our first day. We partnered with Kindred, who's very popular, and they produced a new product for us. And we sold out of coffee and Kindred donuts for 60 straight days. We also successfully launched our Summit Coffee mobile app in 6 weeks and really pivoted to mobile ordering, which now accounts for about 30% of our business. And third is new opportunities. We talked about franchising. So we put a lot of money and a lot of investment and energy into franchise growth, and that sort of dried up in March, right when we were launching it. So we sought the opportunity to sell differently. And what happened was we identified there's a ton of retail opportunities available in the United States, and there's companies shutting down. And so if we can make good news, make good decisions, and make headlines, people are going to want to work with us. So we found places like this in Chapel Hill, which we are opening in about 15 minutes. It's our next store. And what we wanted to do was we are taking the traditional franchise model and flipping it upside down by going into these spaces and flipping them ourselves and then selling ready to open and ready to operate coffee shops. And so this is our first one in Chapel Hill. We're opening in NODA in 4 weeks, and we're opening a second store in Asheville in about 8 weeks. And that is what's next on our way to 65 stores by 2025.
Awesome story, Brian. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Congrats on the pivot.
Thanks.
What questions do we have,
Yeah.
people?
Are you getting your franchisors to go and work in the stores first if they are culturally a match?
Yeah, we will for sure.
The franchise, that whole, you guys building it, and like how you, so who's gonna open that store?
So we are. We're opening 3 new stores right now. They're all corporate stores. And I think there's 2 benefits for us. One, it allows us to stimulate our own growth. And it allowed us to go through the processes several times to make sure that by the time we open the traditional franchise model, which is someone pays us a franchise fee and then they do the build out and the lease and all that stuff. We wanted to go through it 2 or 3 times to really iron out our numbers, to figure out who the vendors we wanted to work with are. And so we're trying 3 different concepts right now. Look, this one in Chapel Hill, we flipped in 3 weeks. You know, traditionally we've said it was going to cost about $200,000 to $300,000 to open a Summit Coffee. We're doing this Chapel Hill store in about $40,000.
Nice. Where's the Jeff? My daughter was a huge customer here in Davidson. She goes to Chapel.
Great. Yeah, right on Franklin Street.